Hello there everyone, I'm Crazy Caleb, and today we are taking a look at transmitted Morse. So what we need to do is listen to what the Morse module is trying to give it to us. Now, another important thing to note is that this does indeed kind of require a little bit of background knowledge of how Morse works, because you're really going to struggle with this because it is one of the faster Morse modules. It does transmit it at a faster speed than any other Morse module really does. So let's take a listen. Like that. And instead of giving you flashes, instead you have to listen to sounds. So you have to just be able to do that. So let's pause it, stop it right there, and for those of you who do not remember Morse code, a long break of static signals the restart of the message. Short break of static signals new characters. Long beep is a dash, and a short beep is a dot. Thank God we have a Morse code table here, and let's see what our message is. So, dash 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 dash, and that's the message. So now let's figure out what the message is trying to say to us. So dash dot 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 is a Bravo. Dash 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 is an Oscar. Dash 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 is an Oscar, and dash dash is a Mike. Boom is our word. Now what we need to do is find if the message is in the table here. Is it? Yes, it is. So boom. So that is what we will be submitting. If the message wasn't in the table and it started with a vowel, then we would use the message coder. Otherwise, the message unlucky. There is an important thing to note here because this can actually change a lot of things. If the LED above the sliders is either red or pink, and the LED below the sliders is either yellow or blue, then the message must be reversed. In this case, that actually does apply. Red on the top and blue on the bottom. So our message is going to be reversed. So instead of boom, it's going to be boob. So now what we need to do is essentially input that back in. How do we do that? We look for these rules and figure out what ranges of letters must be inputted onto each slider. Now, an important thing to note is that looking at this hotel through Mike on slider 3, this does not mean that hotel is equal to 1. Hotel is equal to its alphabetic position, alphanumeric position. So hotel is actually 8 on slider 3. And that's where the range starts. It doesn't start at 1, it starts at 8 because of its alphanumeric position. So just an important thing to know. So looking at these rules, if the top LED is orange or white, no, it is red. If the bottom LED is yellow or orange, no, it is blue. Otherwise, use these rules for input. Okay. Now, before I move on, and this is not going to apply to this one, as you can see here, please note that if the character position is above 20, the module sliders can't input it. Let me show you here. It doesn't go above 20. That's how. Therefore, any character under the circumstance that should be inputted with its alphabetic positions, least significant digits. So we'll take uniform, for example. Uniform is a 21 in the alphabetic position, so we're essentially going to submit 1 on whatever slider it is relevant. But in this case, it doesn't apply to these letters. So, using these last rules for input, if the characters between Alpha and Golf, input it into slider 3, Hotel and Mike, input it into slider 2, and November and Zulu, input it into slider 1. Let's take a look at what we have here. So we have Mike. We will input it into slider 2. And we will use its alphanumeric position. as it says up here. We will use its alphabetic position. Alphabetically, it is 13. Next up, we have 2 Oscars. That's going to be in the slider 1 range because it's after November. So that is going to be in slider 1, 15. Slider 1, 15, because it's the same thing. And finally, Bravo. Bravo is in the range of slider 3. So that is going to be on slider 3, and that is going to be a 2. So now all I have to do is input this. So using slider 2, we'll move it to 13. And we will submit each letter using one of these circle buttons corresponding to which slider you're on. And now this white button came up here. This is essentially our reset button to reset any inputs that we were given. So, I'm on the right track, we do not need to use that yet. So, next up we're going to go to slider 1, moving it to 15. Pressing that twice. 1, 2. And now, now slider 3, we're going to move it to 2. And this signals a new stage. There are 2 stages to this module, and it's not that hard. So before we do anything, let's take a look at this rule here. If the LED above the sliders is red or pink, it is, and the LED below the sliders is either yellow or blue, no, it isn't. So we will not be reversing our message this time. Let's take a listen. Dash, dash, dot, 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 dash. Alright. Yeah, and that's how you decipher this. Let's press the stop button. And if I do press the stop button in the middle of the sequence, it will finish the entire thing. So, let's figure out what our word is. Dot dash is an alpha. Dash dash is a Mike. Dot dot is an India. Dash dot dot is Delta. Dot is an Echo. Dash dot is an dash is an Alpha. And then dot dot dash dot is F. Am I deaf? Am I deaf? Excuse me. Am I deaf? Oh my god. Alright. So now, since that is indeed in the possible messages, we can input that. Let's take a look at our rules. Top LED is orange or white. Bottom LED is yellow or orange. Neither of those apply. So we're using these rules again. So, our first character is an alpha. That is going to be inputted into slider 3. So 3, 1. Mike is going to be inputted into slider 2. So let's choose 15. India is going into slider 2. So 2, 9. Delta is going into slider 3. It's going to be 3, 4. Echo is going into slider 3, as you can see here. So that's going to be 3, 5. Echo is going into slider 3. It's going to be 3, 1. And Foxtrot is going into slider 3. That's going to be 3, 6. So now let's input this. Slider 3, 1. Slider 2, 13. Slider 2, 9. Slider 3, 4. Slider 3, 5. Slider 3, 1. And finally slider 3, 6. And that should be a solved module. Indeed it is. Alright, let's try one more. Okay, checking our rule here. The LED above the sliders is either red or pink. No, so we're good. Let's take a listen for our message. I'm gonna need to be a long one. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh. That's going to be a dot dash dot dot. Bear with me. Okay, that's our message. Dash dash dot dash dot dot dash 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 dot 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 dash dash dot 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 dash dot dash dash dash. Alright, stop our message and let's figure out what it is. Dot dash dot dot dash dash is a whiskey. That's an echo. Dot dash dot dot is a Lima. Dash 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 is an Oscar. Dot 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 is Sierra. Dash is a Tango. Dash dot 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 is a Bravo. Dot dash dot is a Romeo. Dash 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 is an Oscar. We lost bro. Is that in here? We lost bro. Yep, right here. That was quite a long one, I must say. So now let's input this. The top LED is orange or white. No, it's blue. The bottom LED is yellow or orange. No, it's white. Using these rules again for input. Alright. So here's actually a first situation where we have to worry about the character's position being above 20. Whiskey is equal to 23. So what this means is that we're essentially just going to input 3. Because that's the least significant digit. So, starting it off, slider 1, that's in the range of whiskey, so slider 1 is going to be 3, not 23 because it's not in the range. Next up, echo, that's in slider 3. That's going to be 3, 5. Lima is in the range of slider 2. Slider 2 is going to be 12. Oscar is in the range of slider 1. Slider 1 is going to be 15. Sierra is 19. That's in the range of slider 1. So that's going to be 19. Next up, after Sierra, Tango. Tango is 20. So it is exactly 20, so that works in slider 1. If it's exactly 20, you don't modulo 20. So, next up, Bravo, that's in the range of slider 3. Slider 3 is going to be 2. Next up, Romeo, that's in the range of slider 1. Slider 1 is going to be 18. And finally, Oscar is also in slider 1, that's going to be a 15. Okay, let's input this. Slider 1 is a 3. Slider 3 is going to be a 5. Slider 2 is going to be a 12. Slider 1 is going to be a 15. Slider 1 is going to be a 19. Slider 1 is going to be a 20. Slider 3 is going to be a 2. Slider 1 is going to be 18, and slider 1 is going to be 15. And that's the solved stage. Let's take a look at our next one. Checking these rules, of course, before. If the LEDs above the slider is either red or pink, it is, in this case, pink, and the LEDs below the slider are either yellow or blue, yes. So our message is going to be reversed for this stage. Alright, let's take a look at this message. I'm going to write it down the way I usually would, just to make sure that we actually do have the possible message, because it is possible that we cannot get a message in the table, so. Oh. Seems like we're in for a long one. Okay, here we go. Done. Okay. Dash. Dash. Stop. Dash, dash, dash. Stop. Stop. Dash, dot, dot, dash. Okay, good. That's our message. So now let's it, or decrypt it. So it's going to be dot is an echo. Dash, dash, dot, dash is a Quebec. I think I already know which one this is. Dot, dot, dash. The uniform. Dot dash is an alpha. Dash is a tango. Dot dot is an India. Dash 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 is an Oscar. Dash dot is a November. Dot 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 is a Sierra. And dash dot dot dash is an X. And I already know equations X is right here. So that's our message. But now we have to reverse it. So it's eventually going to become X, S, N, O, I, T, A, U, Q, E. And that's what we're worrying about. So taking a look, what are we inputting? Top LED is orange or white? No, it's pink. Bottom LED is yellow or orange, and we're looking at the same rules again. Characters between alpha and golf? No, we're looking at X-ray. X-ray, however, is a 24. So we're going to submit it on slider 1, but in position 4. Sierra. That's in slider 1, so that's going to be 19. November is in slider 1, that's going to be 14. Oscar is in slider 1, that's going to be 15. And finally, India is going to be within slider 2, going to be 9. Tango is going to be slider 1, it's going to be 20. Alpha is going to be slider 3, that's going to be 1. Uniform is in slider 1, that's going to be a 1, because its position is 21. Quebec is going to be slider 1, that's going to be 17. And finally, Echo is going to be slider 3, 5. So let's input this. Slider 1 is a 4. Slider 1 is a 19. Slider 1 is a 14. Slider 1 is a 15. Slider 2 is a 9. Slider 1 is a 20. Slider 3 is a 1. Slider 1 is a 1. Slider 1 is a 17. And slider 3 is a 5. And that's solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching, and stay crazy, stay cool, Don't explode, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.